Let me ask you a question real quick. Have you ever said yes to something and then right afterwards you immediately regretted saying yes? There have been plenty of times where I've been asked a question, I've said yes, and then I've either gotten in my car or I've hung up my phone and I started to think to myself, like, why did I say yes? It's not even something that I wanted to say yes to, but for some reason I still did. And it's not just because who asked me, it was just because it's not what I wanted to do or it didn't fit in what I had going on at that time. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some of the things that we say yes to when we really should be taking a look at saying no at some of these things because they don't fit with what we have going on at that time. See, there are plenty of reasons why people have an issue with saying no, but I believe that it just boils down to a few things, right? It could be the fear of coming off as disrespectful. You don't want to come off as disrespectful to someone, so you'll always say yes. You want to please everyone, especially if you're a people pleaser. For my people pleasers out there, you have an issue with just saying no, even if you really don't want to. The first thing that we need to start being able to say no to in 2026 and beyond is no financially. Right? How many times have you been asked to borrow money? Especially if you're someone that comes from a family that doesn't have a lot, and then all of a sudden you started doing a little bit better for yourself. You're not balling or anything, but you're doing better than you have at any point in your life, and you're getting by, and you have enough just to do the extras that you want to do, whether that's be able to take that mini vacation or be able to invest in that investment so you can start to continue to build yourself up. But you're looked at as the money person, right? If somebody has a problem, they can always come to you because they know that you'll always bail them out. And I used to be that person. Sometimes people would come to me, they would ask me for things, and I would have a hard time saying no because I felt guilty because I was doing a little bit better. And I felt like I needed to give back to ensure that the people that I've known my entire life were straight as well. And then probably about 10 years ago, I had like this shift. And I started to come up with this phrase that I often use all the time. And that phrase is don't be irresponsible with your money and then want to turn around and try to be responsible with mine. Now, there's a lot of people that are very fearful of saying no when it comes to money because they think that it's going to ruin a relationship. People are going to see you as being selfish. They're going to walk away and they're never going to talk to you again, all because you told them no. But let me tell you something. If that's the case, they never cared about you as the person anyway. It was always about what you could do for them. Now, I'm not saying to cut people off 100%, especially if you're doing really well for yourself. You may want to, give back a little bit, but you need to set boundaries on what that looks like and set yourself up to where you're not always being the person that someone has to come to whenever they're being irresponsible with their money. The next thing that we're going to start saying no to in 2026 and beyond is how generous we are with our time. There's many of us that agree to do things that we don't really want to do. We don't want to go out that weekend. We don't want to go shopping. And no, I don't want to help you move. I'm 45 years old. I don't want to lift things anymore. I'm not 20 years old anymore. But we'll often say yes to these things again because we feel guilty. We feel guilty and we feel like we have to do this in order to preserve the relationship or the friendship. As I've gotten older, I've started to slot and allocate my time based on the things that are important to me. If it has to do with learning or investing in myself, I have time slotted for that. If it comes to time with my family, I have time for that. And I have time for other things that are important for me in my life. And one of the things that are no longer important for me is just being so free-willing with my time. Now, there are instances where I have free time and I'm okay with doing those things. I'm okay with helping you move, probably not picking up couches anymore, but I'm okay with giving people a ride somewhere. This isn't about just saying no to everything. It's about making sure that you're protecting your time for the things that mean the most to you. We have limited time in a 24-hour period. And in order to get all of the things that you want to get done that mean something to you, you have to start being more restrictive with how you give your time and your energy. The next thing that we're going to be saying no to in the future is no to relationships that just seem like they're too much work. Now, we all have people, and maybe we've known them our entire lives. Maybe they're someone we just met, but the relationship is just not the same. There are things that you're now interested in that they have no interest in. They may be someone that has always been completely negative about every situation and you just never paid attention and now you don't have time for that in your life. Maybe it's someone that gets extremely disrespectful, especially when other people are around because they want to try to bring you down. Those are the type of relationships and the people that you have no need for in 2026 and beyond. And now is the time to say, no, I don't want to deal with that. No, I don't want to hang out with that. And no, I don't want to drain my energy having to deal with that because I don't have to. And not only do I not have to, I'm not going to feel bad about it. And I'm not going to explain myself. That's what saying no is all about. It's the ability to say, nope, I'm not doing that anymore. And no, I don't have to explain why. The answer is just no. The next thing that we're not going to have any issues with saying no to in the future is just trying to keep up with what's going on. Trending items, trending topics. We're not worried about that anymore. We're not worried about what's going on in pop culture, on the internet and on the news or on Instagram. We're not followers. We're no longer being followers. We're setting our own goals and we're going to start doing the things that mean the most to us. And we're not worried about what anybody thinks about that. We don't care if someone looks at us and they say, oh, well, he's changed. He doesn't want to do X, Y, Z anymore. It doesn't matter. Again, when we say no without the need to explain anything. It just doesn't work for us anymore. And we're not going to be chasing everyone like some mindless zombie and just doing it because that's what society does. See, I learned a long time ago that it's okay to not follow the crowd, not have the herd mentality. In all 2026 and beyond, we're going to be making sure that everybody knows that we're okay with being different and not following the trend and worrying about what everybody else is doing. See, when it comes to saying no, a lot of people have a fear of what that's going to do to them from a social perspective. Maybe it'll make them feel like they're being rude, selfish, hateful, whatever it may be. But I can tell you, nobody is going to worry about you more than you. It's your job, your responsibility to take care of yourself. And I've mentioned this to people in coaching calls and in person. And I always talk about how you're in charge of your own life, whether that be just your life in general or your life from a career perspective. And there's nobody that's going to be out there that's going to help you or dictate how each one of those are going to progress. You're responsible for making sure that you're okay. So all 2026 and beyond, we're going to be working on setting our standards, setting our boundaries, marching towards the beat of our own drum, hitting our own goals, and making it work our way.